The evolution of mammals is one of the most exciting and complex stories of life on Earth. These animals, to which we humans also belong, became what we know them as today after a long evolutionary journey spanning hundreds of millions of years. The story of mammals is not only about how they appeared and adapted to their environment, but also about how they became one of the most successful groups on Earth, found on every continent and in the most diverse ecosystems. The beginning of our story dates back to the Paleozoic era, the late Carboniferous and Permian periods, more than 300 million years ago. At that time, the first synapsids appeared, which were the direct ancestors of mammals. One of the best-known groups of synapsids is the pelycosaurs, such as Dimetrodon, which had a tall sail-like crest on its back. These animals were not yet mammals, but they had already begun to diverge from the reptiles from which they descended. A single temporal opening appeared on the skull of synapsids, which allowed for the more powerful development of the jaw muscles, unlike other reptile groups. As time passed, another group of synapsids, the therapsids, became dominant. These already resembled later mammals much more. Their bodies adapted increasingly to faster movement, and they had more advanced metabolism. In some therapsids, such as cynodonts, features characteristic of mammals appeared. Differentiated teeth, stronger jaws, and they were probably covered with fur, which could have helped regulate body temperature. The emergence of mammals, however, cannot be pinpointed to a single moment. It was a long process during which the characteristics that still define mammals today gradually appeared. For example, the 3 middle ear bones, which allow for finer hearing, or the fur, which helps with thermal insulation. The first true mammals appeared in the Triassic period, about 225 million years ago. These were small, nocturnal animals that had to survive in the shadow of the dinosaurs. The Mesozoic, also known as the Middle Ages, was the age of the dinosaurs, and during this period, mammals mostly led small, hidden lives. As small, insectivorous animals, they hid in underground tunnels, trees, or dense thickets to avoid the huge reptilian predators. However, during this time, the adaptability of mammals also developed as they were able to survive changing conditions, such as climate change and fluctuations in food sources. At the end of the Cretaceous period, about 66 million years ago, a major extinction event fundamentally changed life on Earth. As a result of the impact of a massive asteroid and the accompanying environmental disasters, most dinosaurs became extinct, opening the way for mammals to fill the vacant ecological niches. In the Paleogene period, at the boundary between the Cretaceous and the Cenozoic, mammals began to develop rapidly. The ancestors of the main mammal groups known today appeared, and the size, lifestyle, and diet of the animals became extremely diverse. During this period, the main mammal groups were formed: the egg-laying mammals, the monotremes, the marsupials, and the placentals. Egg-laying mammals, such as the platypus or the echidna, today only live in Australia and New Guinea. These animals have retained some of their more primitive characteristics, such as laying eggs, but at the same time, they possess features like fur and mammary glands from which they nurse their offspring. Marsupials mainly live in Australia and South America, and they got their name from the well-known pouch in which the newborns continue to develop. Examples of marsupials include the kangaroo, the koala, and the Tasmanian devil. The lifestyle of marsupials is well adapted to extreme environmental conditions, and they have created extremely diverse forms. However, the placentals, which include us humans, have become the most widespread and successful group of mammals. In placentals, the offspring develop for a longer time in the mother's womb, where the placenta provides them with nutrients and oxygen. This allows the newborns to be born in a more developed state, which is an advantage in terms of survival. One of the keys to the success of mammals is their differentiated dentition. While most reptiles have uniform teeth, mammals have teeth that differ in shape: incisors, canines, premolars, molars. This diversity allows mammals to utilize various types of food, whether plants, insects, or other animals. Another important characteristic of mammals is warm-bloodedness, meaning the maintenance of a constant body temperature. This allows mammals to remain active under various environmental conditions, whether in hot deserts, cold tundras, or deep oceans. The fur and fat layer effectively insulate the body, while the advanced circulatory and respiratory systems ensure proper oxygen and nutrient supply. The brains of mammals are generally more developed compared to other vertebrates. The cerebral cortex, which is responsible for thinking, learning, memory, and perception, is particularly large in mammals, especially in primates and humans. This allows for the development of complex behavioral patterns, social relationships, tool use, and problem-solving. During the Paleogene and Neogene periods, mammals experienced a true evolutionary explosion. This was when the first large herbivores appeared, such as ancient horses, rhinoceroses, or elephants. But predators also developed, like ancient felines, bears, or canines. The diversity of habitats, the migration of continents, and climate changes all contributed to the diversity of mammals. One of the most exciting chapters in the evolution of mammals is the adaptation of cetaceans, that is, whales, dolphins, and seals, to an aquatic lifestyle. The ancestors of these animals were terrestrial mammals, but they returned to the water, where their bodies became more streamlined, their limbs transformed into fins, and a thick layer of fat developed to keep them warm in cold water. Today, cetaceans are the rulers of the world's oceans, and their vocalizations and communication are impressive examples of the advanced brains of mammals. During the evolution of mammals, many species adapted to flight as well. Bats are the only mammals capable of active flight. Their wings developed from the elongation of the fingers and the skin stretched between them. Flying squirrels and other gliding mammals are not capable of true flight, but with the help of their skin membranes, they can glide long distances between trees. Primates, from which humans also descend, appeared about 60 million years ago. These animals lived in the ancient tree canopies, where grasping hands, stereoscopic vision, and a developed brain provided great advantages. The great apes evolved from primates, and eventually humans as well. The history of human evolution is a particularly interesting part of this long process. About 7 million years ago, the first primates that walked on two legs appeared, and from this branch, the ancestors of modern humans evolved. The size and complexity of the human brain, speech, social relationships, and culture all contributed to making humans one of the most successful and influential species of mammals. The evolution of mammals has been enabled by their adaptability, diversity, and intelligence. They can be found all over the world, from camels living in deserts to polar bears in the Arctic, from orangutans in rainforests to elephants migrating across savannas. The diverse body structures, behaviors, and lifestyles of mammals are a fascinating example of the power of evolution. The evolution of mammals, however, is not just a story of the past. It is still ongoing today, as animals adapt to new environments, exploit new food sources, or adjust to changes created by humans. Urbanization, climate change, and habitat destruction all present new challenges for mammals, to which they continuously respond. The study of mammals not only helps in understanding evolution, but also in better recognizing our own place in nature. The relationships among mammals, parental care, social behavior, and learning are all characteristics that also describe humans, and through which we can feel a deeper connection with the rest of the animal kingdom. Finally, the evolution of mammals reminds us that every species, including humans, is part of a long and complex story. Every one of our traits, whether it is temperature regulation, the advanced brain, or social relationships, is the result of millions of years of trials and adaptations. Therefore, the evolution of mammals is not just a scientific story, but evidence of the wonderful process through which life continuously changes, develops, and creates new opportunities for survival and prosperity in every generation. Wherever we look in nature, the diversity, beauty, and adaptability of mammals are impressive. Whether a gentle deer crosses the forest, a whale dives into the depths of the ocean, or a bat darts across the evening sky, we are all part of a common ancient story. The evolution of mammals is one of the most fascinating chapters in the history of life on Earth, full of secrets waiting to be discovered, and in which we ourselves play an important role. Evolution never ends, And who knows what new forms, lifestyles, or abilities the future will bring for mammals. One thing is certain, the story of mammals is far from over, and every day new chapters are written in this wonderful, continuously changing story.